Hey everybody, I'm John with The Wealthy Sailor, and welcome back to my channel, the channel where we discuss business, finance, investing, and probably most importantly, budgeting, because without proper budgeting, you'll never get to any of those other things that we talked about. And where you can follow me, where I try to achieve some of my goals, and I update you all periodically on what those are and how I'm doing on getting there. So for today's topic, we're talking about opportunity costs. It's a term that's mostly used in economics, and it basically describes a theory which person A and person B are more benefit by trading. For example, if person A is really good at catching fish and person B is really good at making shoes, then it benefits them both to trade rather than try to learn each other's skills and spend more time on a product they're less skilled in order to do it themselves. For example, some people grow fruits and vegetables in their garden, and that's totally fine. But in most cases, you won't be able to do it more efficiently than what a orchard or a farm can do. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I'm all for people actually growing their own vegetable gardens and stuff like that. I just mean for the most part, the most efficient way to do it is done by bigger people who are very dedicated and knowledgeable on that subject. Okay, so that's what opportunity cost is in like an economic standpoint, but I want to talk about more on like how it affects me and you and people day to day rather than from an economical theory standpoint. And the best example I can think of off the top of my head is investing. Uh, Generally speaking, now there are exceptions, but generally speaking, if you're going to invest, it's better to put your money into an index fund. The reason being is because generally a well-managed index fund is going to make more money than what you are going to do individually. You're pretty much paying a small fee to have somebody else do all that research, to read all the market reports, to see the cash flow statements, and even go to the investor meetings that most corporations have every year. And you're basically, that small fee is paying for this research that other people are doing. And these banks have statisticians and mathematicians that try to figure out every way they can to figure out how to maximize profit so they can collect more money in fees. Because obviously, if their fund isn't doing very well, then they're not going to get a lot of people investing in it. So when they go after all these index funds and stuff like that, and they basically build them, it really is the kind of the best people, or at least the best people that can be found, to build these products that you're then purchasing. Now, the reason that's good for me is because I already have a full-time job. I'm in school right now, and I'm trying to do stuff with YouTube and try to help people as much as I can with pretty much free financial advice. And in order to do that, I don't think it's really good for me to have to also worry about my investments. Now, for anybody who's been watching this channel, you know I'm like heavily messing around with M1 Finance, Acorns, and Robinhood. And links below if you're interested in it. I'm not getting paid by them, but if you're interested, links below. Click them. We both get free stuff. So I do buy individual stocks occasionally, but the bulk of my wealth is actually made up of my IRAs and my 401ks, which are all managed. They're all low fee managed, but they're managed. So that's me paying for a service by somebody who I think can perform the service better than I can. I might save money if I do it myself, but I'm not giving myself a better product. And I think that's one of the biggest obvious things that I choose to do that really saves me a little bit. Another thing I was thinking about doing is because I want to get involved in real estate, I was thinking of actually getting my real estate license and or my home inspection license. And while neither of them are out of the cards yet, it really doesn't affect me. Let's say I want to get my real estate license. I don't believe it would be particularly difficult if I actually apply myself and study, because you do have to study for that stuff. But the thing is, I would still need years and years of experience to get to the level of somebody else. And since I pretty much only buy property and usually the real estate agent commission comes from the seller, I've never in my life actually paid a real estate agent for their services directly. I mean, of course, we can argue that the price is inflated, so they're getting their money anyway. I know a lot of real estate investors say don't go through real estate agents at all. They just have a lawyer do some sort of contract type thing. I'm not exactly sure how it's done because I haven't done it. In fact, if you have more experience there, you can go ahead and make a comment below. And I'll definitely read it. I'm definitely interested in learning more about how to do it. And then most real estate investors will do the attorney way, and then they save 6% of the purchase price. And when you buy a home for investment purposes, you pretty much make all your money at the date of purchase. So to save 6%, that could be your entire profit margin, and you can walk away with a pretty good amount of money by going about and doing it yourself. Now, I don't do that because I don't know the system and I'm not very comfortable doing that. And since most of my properties are long-term investments, I don't want to say the purchase price doesn't matter, but it matters less because I'm not trying to unload it in 3 months after I flipped it. It's a long-term investment that's going to appreciate over the next 10 years or 20 years, 30 years, whatever. So that's kind of why I don't do that. But hats off to you if you do, and it's definitely something worth looking into. I wish I could provide more information on it. So another way that this kind of affects me, and I'm sure it affects a lot of you too, is that if you're watching this channel, you probably like to invest. It's really difficult for me to have cash on hand in case of a good investment opportunity. For example, in, we'll say, April, maybe even March, when COVID-19 first hit, I wish that I had a large amount of my net worth just in cash so I could just buy everything. But I didn't because, prior to that, obviously we didn't know a pandemic was going to hit and crash the stock market the way it did. So I took that money and I invested it so I could collect, 6 to 10% interest depending. The thing is that I might have lost out on a lot by not doing that, but I still did it because I felt like it was safer for the long run. And the reason I tell you that kind of tidbit of a story is because I want to encourage people to not get hung up too much on regrets. Like, for example, we all could look back at Bitcoin and be like, oh man, there's a missed opportunity there because, we didn't invest in, Bitcoin, but we had no way of knowing. And to be honest, we had no way of knowing. I don't think there was any way anybody could accurately predict what happened to Bitcoin with any degree of certainty. Sure, people were like, oh, it's going to be worth a ton of money, but they couldn't prove how it's going to be that way. So to me, it was too much like investing, but that is a missed opportunity that I'm sure if you're watching my channel, you're probably I would assume you're actually in a similar boat as I am, where you're not completely helpless with money, but you have financial goals that you're trying to learn more and get to. So I would assume none of you made it really big on Bitcoin. If you did, great. I wish I did the same, but in the end we didn't. So here we are. So anyway, try not to get too wrapped up about the missed opportunities you have. The fear of missing out's a real thing, and people really have this thing about oh no, I gotta do something now because all my friends are and everything. And that actually hit close to home because something like that happened with my fiance, where she was deployed, and a couple people she was deployed with were talking to her about all the money they were making buying the crash stock market. And I was telling her, no, just keep contributing to your IRA, you're fine. But, it kind of hit her a little bit with the fear of missing out. She didn't want to be the last one standing where everybody else is driving a Porsche to and from work and she's driving her Toyota or whatever. Anyway, back to opportunity costs. It's a problem that I think a lot of us face. And the thing is that I feel like as long as you're doing something with your money and you have a plan, I don't think you necessarily need to worry about what you might have lost, because as long as you have a plan and you're executing it, then if you have to hire out some experts, it might be more money initially, but it's probably going to be a better chance for you to, grow your wealth in the long run. The only exception I could think of for that, and if anybody watched my video on debt collectors, I know they have services that charge you for it, but I really think that most people can negotiate their own debts down. They don't really need to go that route. In my opinion, take that for what it's worth. Well, anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I'm really surprised by how fast the channel has grown and people that find it interesting and stuff like that. So I'm going to continue to try to produce interesting content. I have a list stretching out until March or April of next year of all the different topics I want to cover. But if there's anything you want me to specifically talk about, please leave it in a comment. While you're leaving a comment, give me a like and subscribe because it's helping the show grow. And to be honest, I feel more motivated to put out content when I know there's people actually learning from it and utilizing the information. Not that I wouldn't do this anyway, but I want to make sure that I'm at least approaching the topics in ways that people actually get something away from. So if you guys need me to explain more, or maybe not talk as much, maybe make the video shorter, whatever, just let me know. I would love to hear input from all you guys. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. Love you guys for watching my full video up until this point, and keep saving.